Has winter got you down? Because let me tell you, it can be a bitch.
It absolutely can. And that's why today we are diving into the keys to holiday harmony.
Yeah.
We all know this time is full of hustle and bustle. It is full of every day there's less and less light. So it just feels heavier and darker and more overwhelming. So we're going to go through 3 suggestions that you can increase your light quotient and make this holiday season a lot easier on you.
I know that yesterday I texted my sisters and I said, this early nighttime shit has got me feeling a certain kind of way.
It does. And it happens to a lot of people with seasonal depression that they feel like this is the beginning of the season that's kicking off that seasonal depression because of the dark times. When in reality, in just a few days, or depending on when you're watching this, on December 21st is the winter solstice. And that's when the light starts coming back. So it's funny that everybody's like, oh, these are the dark times. Right now is the dark time. The dark time is actually ending in about 48 hours from where we're recording.
Oh, thank goodness.
I know. But people don't recognize that. And I think it's because they don't know and consciously be aware that the light is leaving, it's leaving, it's leaving. And these are the dark times right now. So then it sneaks up on them like, ugh, I'm feeling a certain way because of all this darkness. And then they just nosedive into it because they weren't aware of it while it was happening. So the 3 months after, when the light's actually coming back, is their hardest time, which is very interesting.
No, I know I've been watching it because I feel like I get up, I do like one thing, and it's nighttime. Is it time to go to bed again or something? And
True.
I'm like, wait, what? What just happened? I just got up, and now it's dark again. I'm like, oh my God, I just can't. I just can't.
For all these folks that live like in Alaska where it's dark most of the time, like power to you because, yeah,
That
I
would
can't
not
either.
be my gig.
No, no. You have a special kind of strength and power in there that we all like to harness. So, what are these dark times? Long before Christian Christmas was celebrated, ancient societies had tons of festivals and celebrations because of this return of the light. So, this is what we really want to focus on as we're going through all the hustle bustle of the holidays and whatever else you have going on and getting cold and all that. That you're really focusing on this light returning, that it's sacred and it feeds you and fills you and it makes you feel that joy, that special spark that you can create and do anything and have fun and laugh.
Yeah, because I mean, when it's like light out longer and the sun's shining and things are starting to warm up, it's like that's what I look forward to that, because that's just when I feel like I thrive, when it's in that particular energy and feel and all that stuff. But when it's like cold and dark early, I'm just like, no, I need to move.
And so what are these cycles here to show us? And we have a whole archetype series where what each archetype part of ourselves shows up. The most popular lately, people have been really loving the magician energy. So we'll link that above so you can take a look at that if you want to help shift your life with the magic of the season and with the light that is coming in. But the archetypal energy that's coming in right now is that birth always follows death. It's the whole cycle of life and death. So like the winter is the death cycle, and then you have spring coming forth and here's life again. So it's just showing you that life it's just a cycle of going through dark times, but there's always that promise of spring, of change, of something else at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you look at it in a sense, it's like you're taking this time to decide what it is that you want to plant come spring. Like figure out within yourself, like, what do you want to create? What do you want to change? What do you want to engage in? What do you want to learn? Like all these little things you're thinking about right now. And as we start to get into the lighter part of things, that's when you know that come spring, these things are going to start to do its job. And they're going to manifest and they're going to be here, and it's the sun will be shining and all that good stuff. But right now it's the time to just kind of solidify all that. If you look at it that way, I think it makes it a little bit easier to kind of get through it. And also with the holidays and all that stuff, that just kind of puts an added pressure for a lot of folks too.
And people always call this doing your winter's work, and they're like, what the heck does that mean? So picture yourself like you're a seed and you're buried deep into the earth. So yeah, it's cold, it's dark, there's pressure, especially if you're in a snow area or whatever, leaves, everything's mounting on it, and it's more and more pressure. Now you can not do what a seed in nature actually teaches us, what the cycles of life and earth teach us, and light. You can just shut down and be depressed and be like, this sucks and I hate this. Or you can be like, yeah, this pressure, it's all these nutrients around me. It's starting to crack my shell open. It's giving me the opportunity to grow. And as the light's coming, it's calling me to my next level of myself, stepping into more and more of who I am. And then that seedling starts to pop up. We all know it takes a long time before you see the seedling that comes through that earth. So this is that point that you're at right now with that seed. So this is really an exciting time. Mm-hmm. It's a time where you're cocooned in. You spend more time inside usually during this time of year. Yeah. And so it gives you that opportunity for more stillness and more grace and more focus on what it is you want to create, like you said.
Right. Now, the thing is, like, what about the people who don't like being indoors for so long? Like, I know that I can probably last like 2 days before it's just like, I have to get out. Mm-hmm. You know, like I have to go do something. I don't care what it is. I just need to get out of the house because I feel like I'm confined for far too long when it comes to this particular time. And so when I do go out, I do it intentionally.
Right.
And that's the best way to maneuver some of the stuff that might be coming up for you during this time. Because, you know, when you're sitting with yourself, when you're sitting with your emotions, when you're sitting with your thoughts, a lot of stuff can go on. Mm-hmm. You can become aware of different things that you're like, I thought I took care of that, or shit, I didn't know I was having issues with that. You know, so these are moments where you really get to reflect and also be very, very mindful of what the dialogue within yourself is saying.
Right.
And that's I think that's really important to be aware of, because what we say to ourselves or what comes up for us, it's what starts to manifest around us in real time.
And light is really calling for this energy of celebration. So when this stuff does bubble up, this is a time to celebrate. Like, yeah, mm-hmm. I just want to, healing is like an onion. It has a whole bunch of different layers. So this is not a failure, beat yourself up like, I thought I already dealt with that. I went to therapy for two years about that, or I already did shadow work around that. This is just another layer of you diving deeper into yourself so you can clean that energy up and hold more of what you really want. So this is an exciting thing. So the first suggestion is letting the light shine in the form of awareness. Because if you don't do that, it creates a lot of gray areas and it causes extra old layers that you don't want to have to go through the murkiness to try to find your light. Right. This is when you're not using awareness and curiosity and taking this time to deal with this stuff, that it will pile up on you and it will keep you in that feeling like it's a darker time.
Right. I mean, and if you're anything like me, I'm not the kind of person that likes sitting in the gray areas of life. So, I beeline it either direction. I'm either going to be real dark or I'm going to be real light, because I don't like the gray. For some reason, I've never have.
And I'm the exact opposite.
Exactly. This is why we work.
Yes.
So when I'm in that gray area, I tend to be very mindful, very respectful, and all these things to myself, because I know how I can get. So, just be aware of that if you're the type that doesn't like being in the gray area.
Ironic that you chose black and white and I chose gray to wear today, too.
Right?
So the reason I like the gray area is black and white is just two ends of polarity to me, and they're very definitive. When I need to make a decision or choose a course of action or something to say, I can be very black and white really quickly, but I dwell in the gray so I can see all the different possibilities, all the different nuances of what's going on, and I have a lot more, like a wider lens of information to me. and all the different shades and perspectives of things. So when it comes time to choose dark or light or left or right or whatever the choices end up being, I have like a million choices, not just those two. I mean, that's how it translates for me. Not
Right.
that what you're doing is, I mean,
Right.
that
No,
works for you.
I totally get it.
So
Yeah.
wherever you sit, like, that's cool. This is another part of just acknowledging that your light is not my light. It's all part of the one light, but we each have our special slice and flavor of it. And that is to be honored.
I want to give you a quick message before we get back to this episode. Unlock the secrets of your soul for free with Soul Notes. Say goodbye to feeling stuck and hello to the validation of your alignment. These weekly prompts are filled with reminders, gentle nudges, and sometimes a kick in the ass, all with love from your soul. Don't just take our word for it. Try Soul Notes for yourself and see the difference it can make in your life. Trust us, your soul and you will thank you. Just go to soulnote.org. That's SOULNOTE.org. Now back to our podcast.
All right. Second suggestion on how to bring more light into your life is drop the gossip. It's really hard during this time when you're suddenly thrust in with, family groups and friend groups and, old stories and old judgments around people. And, look what, cousin Todd is wearing today. And did you hear that, cousin Sally's getting divorced? And don't do that. It's dark energy. It's heavy energy. It does not bring light to you or to anybody else. And if somebody else is talking that way, shift the conversation, suddenly have to go get a drink or something. Hold that thought and then don't come back.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of different ways around it.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. I know that back when I was in my big girl job, usually the lunchtime was everybody was gathered.
Gossip Central.
And then all of a sudden you hear the chit chat. And I never, ever liked that. Ever. I would sit there and if I saw that the conversation was being directed towards someone that isn't in the room, I would immediately say, that is not a good topic to be on right now because that person's not here. And that's not cool. And I would get up and walk away because I don't want to participate in any of that. There's a very low vibration in doing that. I heard somebody say to someone, I heard so and so say something, and that person says, but what were you saying? Don't tell me what so and so was saying. What were you saying?
Tell me your part of the story.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just you think about stuff like that because there's absolutely zero value in gossip. Especially if you're doing it behind somebody's back or talking about someone that you have no business having any kind of words about in your mouth when it comes to that. So, yeah.
And also take a look at the internal gossip that's happening. All the different parts of you that are putting you down and judging everything that you're doing or saying. Stifle those voices as well. Acknowledge why they might be feeling that way. This actually leads to the third one, which is following your emotional triggers down to their roots. If some of those voices are happening in you because that's how you were spoken to as a child, you don't want to shame the internal child of you and stifle it in a way that you're shutting it up. You want to acknowledge why it's speaking to you that way and tell it's okay. You've got it. Keep it safe. But we're going to start talking to ourselves this way because this is how we want to be spoken about and to, and help it shift that. I run everything through a filter. What is going on around me, what's coming out of my mouth, what actions I'm choosing internally, externally, all of it. Is it appreciating something or is it depreciating something? That's your judge. That's your guide constantly. Right. Is this increasing the energy? Is this decreasing the energy? Is my vibration thriving because of this, or is my vibration tanking because of this?
I mean, I know that when I find myself being in a certain mood or saying a certain thing, and then I catch myself why did I just say that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are the moments where you're being self-aware,
Yes.
and that's where you want to be. So, like you said, honor those moments, because that's it gives you that opportunity to grow in the mix of everything else that's happening in the world and in your
Exactly.
life and all that. But the more and more you know yourself and learn about yourself, the easier it becomes when all these little things happen or come up for you.
And the key to doing this is not expressing your feelings in the moment.
Yeah.
And
And that's hard to do.
that is hard to do. So like, but if it's already fallen out of your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, get curious after and even say out loud, I don't know why I just said that.
Yeah.
Like that. Or I think I do know and I'm sorry, like, because that just came out not like I wanted it to.
Right.
And then that immediately diffuses any negative energy that came out that might have shot out at a different person just because you needed to get it out of your system. So, I mean, there is a way to recall and mend that energy really quickly if you're catching it.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about suppressing emotions. We're talking about just not expressing in the heat of the moment. Like the trigger flips, the lights come on, but this is like the trigger flips and the nasty comment comes out, or the anger comes out, or the frustration comes out. Like we don't want to flip that light switch. Light again is high vibration. So this is like, okay, trigger flipped, not letting that negative type of light come on, looking at it, digesting it, figuring out how I really want to say what I really want to express. It can simply be, you know, I just wanted to say all this shit because I'm having a hard time because I think it's triggering in something to me. Inside of me, I have no idea what it is. And maybe get into a conversation about it.
Right.
Or be like, I'm feeling some sort of way and I think I need a moment. Like, please excuse me.
Yeah, it's like find something that's gonna work for you. Like when I get like that, I often say, you know, either I'm feeling overwhelmed. Can we table this
Right.
so that I can really process without the reaction? You know, so find something that is going to send the signal to the person that you're talking to, you know, in a very respectful way, saying, you know, okay, I'm feeling triggered, I'm feeling whatever, let's table this so that I can process and come to a better, so that we can have a better conversation
Right.
versus a reactive one.
And also
Because
a better internal conversation.
Exactly, because nobody wants to be an asshole. You know, I don't believe a lot of people want to be assholes, but when we're triggered and we're reactive, that's the part that actually comes out. It's
Right.
unfortunate, but it's just, I guess that's the way we're built.
Well, we're not really built. It's the energy is bigger than we are in that moment and it needs to discharge. And you haven't trained yourself to have healthy ways to discharge the emotion. So
Finding
I mean,
that place to
Yeah.
say, I'm going to table this right now.
I mean, that might be just the way you are right now, but I don't want you to think that that's, you know, that's the way we're built and it's just, it is what it is type of thing. This is totally something that you can shift. You have the power to shift this. The more you step into your soul led type of life, the less these things happen. I mean, triggers will still trigger, but you'll be able to gracefully maneuver around them, because you'll know what to do to discharge the energy without it coming out as something that you don't want it to.
Right.
And that's why we're saying we're not suppressing, we're just not expressing in the heat of the moment.
Right.
So give your ego, because a lot of this stuff, these triggers are all ego things, all just trying to protect you. That's the bottom line job of the ego. So get into your soul-led place and give your ego new instructions. And the more you give the ego these new instructions, the more the subconscious programs will start to shift. The more you work with the ego as a team member, the easier things happen, the more the light comes back.
And I know this can sound a little bit off, you know, but really if you can build that relationship with the ego, it would be so much easier. Like when it starts to do its job, because it's there for a reason.
Yep.
When it starts to do its job, you can say out loud or to yourself, it's like, thank you. I'm hearing you, but let me take over right now.
Right.
You're okay. Everything's fine. You don't need to do your job right now. I don't need this. Do things like that. So because one, it brings pause. And that's what you want. You want to bring pause to anything that's going to be reactive, out of control, out of character. You know, you want to catch it right then and there, especially if the ego is triggered, and the ego has a specific job.
Right.
And it does it, and it does it fucking well. So if you're not in a relationship with that, and you don't have the ability to say, okay, thank you, but I don't need this right now. Let me process. You know, say it to yourself. I often feel like I'm nuts because I'm constantly having that inner dialogue with every aspect of myself.
Yep.
Whatever one is acting up, or has come up, or has whatever, I'm having a conversation in my mind with it.
Right.
What's happening? You know, how can I help? No, I don't need this. Yes, I do need this. Thank you.
Thank you for shining a light on what something
Exactly.
inside of us is not feeling good to us right now. I'll take care of it. I'm on it.
Exactly.
Thank you, ego.
And that's the part I think that a lot of us forget, that we have the ability and the power to control that, if you will, because it's us, it's our shit, you know? So we're able to do that when we want to. And a lot of us tend to not go there. Again, not sure why.
We
but
focus on stopping the infighting outside of us, trying to keep everything in harmony so we can feel safe inside, instead of creating the harmony and stopping the infighting inside of us,
Right.
so that we just feel safe all the time.
Right. And during these dark times, a lot of those things come up. Like I said, we have a lot of time inside, not just inside our homes, but inside ourselves during these times. You know, once the holidays are have come and gone, there's this silence and stillness that hits. You know, whether you notice it or not, it's there. It's that in between space between, okay, here's the downtime to figure out what the fuck you want to do with your life, figure out what's happening, heal, do all the things, to it being spring. You know, where things is like, here we go, we get to go out again, we get to do things, we need to, you know. So there's that silence, that in between space, that it's really important to be aware of, and really deliberately decide what's going to happen, so that come spring, it's a thumbs up.
And here's a simple little thing that we'll leave you with, that you can do to help yourself in staying centered on this light. I have an app on my phone, and it's like the wallpaper actually. And it tells me like sunrise and sunset, and it'll tell me, you know, you get 3 minutes more of light today. So it's like building up for me. So like, I'm like, yeah, more light, like 3 minutes. It was 4 minutes yesterday. We're getting there. Like, it gives me like a moment of celebration, tapping back into hope, recentering on focusing on the light. It also helps me when we're going into these dark times to be like, okay, 3 minutes less. So I'm going within a little bit more. Like, I'm paying attention to my mental health a little bit more, my body a little bit, you know, a little bit extra, because I know these times are harder on myself and other people mentally. I'm also very aware that it's hard on other people, so I don't take things personally. So sometimes that app is just like a good little check-in reminder, 2-second moment of gratitude, 2-second moment of honoring the darkness and honoring the light within me and around me. So can you honor the darkness within you, and can you celebrate and stay aware of the light as well? This is the magic of holiday harmony.
Awesome.
Enjoy.
Peace.